Hello, welcome to TJD Movie Reviews, episode 19. We watched Ghostbusters 2016.
Yes, make sure you
Unfortunately.
say that. I'm Ty.
Jake.
And I'm Drew.
Nope, Drew is not with us tonight. He had a Chevelle show to go to.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, let's not beat around the bush. Yeah. He went to a concert, and I don't blame him, because we had to watch Ghostbusters. So this is your pick, because you hate me, I guess.
With Drew being gone, I didn't want to do the film I was going to do. So I decided, why not go for cheap on Tuesday night and see this film? We had talked about this film with each other. We were trying to figure out whether or not this film was going to be bad or good. And I just thought, hey, let's either be vindicated or be surprised with this film.
And what were you? I want to slowly stretch that out.
Let's slowly stretch that out. For you, you can say if you want.
I fucking hate this movie. I'm sorry. And let's get this out of the way. Everything I say during this podcast is a reflection of my own opinion. It has nothing to do with Ty or Drew or the pod. Jake as a person is given opinions. So if you don't like it, come after me. Don't go after them unless they explicitly agree or disagree with what I say. And since Drew isn't here, he's not going to agree or disagree with anything. Or he'll tell me later.
Yeah. He'll tell us off air.
But
also, I'm going to give a warning. If you have any interest in seeing this film, spoilers. Like, just spoilers. We are going to be breaking down this film. We aren't going to go piece by piece, but we're going to specifically talk about parts in this film because there were plenty that ticked us off. I found some good parts, whereas Jake didn't find as many, or if any.
For every good, there's a con.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Did you want to summarize it? For anyone who doesn't know what a Ghostbuster is.
For those of you who, I guess, have never seen the original or its sequel...
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry they haven't seen it.
Yeah. I recommend you go watch it first and then never, ever, ever speak of 2016 again. You can skip Ghostbusters 2. It's not necessary. It's an okay film. I'm not going to... I used to defend it when I was younger. It's an okay film. It has a lot of issues, but it's enjoyable. Anyways... Ghostbusters 2016, total reboot, total teardown of the original. That never happened. So, if you have seen the original, this has nothing to do with it. You have Kristen Wiig, who is working at Columbia University, which is a throwback to the old film, because that's where Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Harold Ramis all worked before they got fired.
Right.
She is trying to get tenure at Columbia for her physics that she teaches. Well, ghosts start appearing again. Like, specifically one ghost at this house appears, terrorizes one of the curators there.
Jared from Silicon Valley.
Or, I don't remember his name, but he was on The League for a couple episodes. Yeah. He plays like some hipster guy.
That sounds about right. Oh, he was in The Office as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's the creepy...
Yeah.
I think he dressed up as Lady Gaga for Halloween and scared the shit out of everybody. But that doesn't matter.
He looked exactly the same in The Office as he did in this movie. With the suit and everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, ghosts have appeared. One at least. And the whole thing is Kristen Wiig used to believe... Well, she still believes in ghosts, but she's kind of hidden that in her past. And her and Melissa McCarthy used to be friends. They worked on this book together that keeps popping up for a while at the beginning of the film. And Kate McKinnon is now the, research assistant to Melissa McCarthy. And they get invited to the manor to go check it out.
Yep.
Where they actually discover a ghost. It's kind of a play on the library scene from the original. But instead of having it be kind of a spooky, walking through, seeing all the weird stuff, the ghost just kind of appears and throws up all over Kristen Wiig.
Uh-huh.
And
lots of slime in this movie.
there is more slime in this film than Nickelodeon Kids Awards show.
Yeah.
Where they literally slime like everybody who wins an award. As you know, and that might sound like a complaint, and it kind of is. They'll be like, wasn't there slime in the original? I could only think of maybe 3 instances where there was. One of them was when Slimer gets Bill Murray.
Right.
When he goes through one wall, he leaves a slime trail. But it's not like a waterfall like all these appear to be.
Yeah.
And there might be one other random time.
Yeah, there's goop all over this fucking movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one of the ghosts gets hit by a train, and each cart somehow keeps hitting him. And so every time he gets hit by each individual cart, it keeps splashing goo on all the girls.
And then you get the great Leslie Jones line, he's going to be the 3rd scariest thing on that train tonight.
I will give her that was a decent line.
That's like her only good line in the movie. Everything else is fucking insufferable.
But, so these 3 now have experienced ghosts. They post it on YouTube, but then they're being discredited right away. So unlike the original where people are kind of like more supportive of the Ghostbusters, or at least are asking them questions or doing a media circuit, everyone instantly is denying them.
But Ty,
yes,
everybody loves the Ghostbusters.
Not in this film.
Oh, but Ty, doesn't this parallel the fact that there was all this negative blowback when they revealed that it was an all-female cast? Don't you think it's a clever parallel, Ty? Do you, Ty?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's fucking stupid.
I don't think it mattered whether it was men or women in this role.
No.
With the way these jokes were written...
Let's address the elephant in the room right now, okay? I'm going to come out right now and say that any opinion I have of this movie would have been exactly the same had it been 4 dudes. My issues with the movie are with the movie. It isn't with the fact that someone has a penis or a vagina. It's got nothing to do with it. I think Kristen Wiig can be funny. I think Kate McKinnon can be really funny. I even think Melissa McCarthy has her moments. I won't give you Leslie Jones because I just don't find her funny. Anything I've ever seen her do, any skits I've seen on SNL fucking fall flat. And I don't know. It doesn't rub me right. Just like I don't fucking like Dan Aykroyd. That's just a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a humor that I don't like. It's lowest common denominator. They made her a caricature in this movie where Ernie Hudson was nothing like that. Ernie Hudson was your regular character.
He was the grounded, everyday man.
Right.
Who kept them grounded because you had issues like Bill Murray doing his own thing, being his sarcastic, snarky asshole.
Right.
He was. And you had Egon and Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd being the scientist who overthought everything.
Right.
And
he was the only normal person.
Yeah, he helped keep them in this realm.
Right. Patty is not this.
No.
Patty is way over the top, exaggerated personality. Fucking what the fuck? Like, every time I saw her, it just sucked me out of the movie because I'm like, why are they making her do this? Like, maybe that's really her personality, and she sure as hell tries to act like that's her personality. But the thing about acting is you can act in a movie.
Yep.
You know? You need to tone it the fuck down. Speaking
of toning it down, you mentioned the 4 leads. I never had really seen Kate McKinnon. I quit watching SNL. I heard it got bad. I know she's on it now. I haven't really cared.
She has her moments.
But this was my first time seeing her. She was an up and down performance to me. Like, if I was to compare her to any of the original 4, I'd say she was the Egon.
Right. I agree.
But she was a way more over the top. Whereas Egon was, like, so scientific, but he was very subdued.
Yeah.
She is, like, off-the-wall crazies, but, like, very intelligent.
Yeah, he was kind of quirky, reserved. She's not. She's very out there with everything that's going on, and
Yeah. I agree, but I thought like I said, she was up and down for me. She was both good and bad. Kristen Wiig, I'm actually a fan of. I've enjoyed most things I've seen her in. I don't have an issue with Kristen Wiig. In this film, she kind of just there. I think her and Melissa McCarthy are both just there.
I had an issue
with Kristen Wiig.
Well, here's the thing: are we going to do pros and cons? Because right now we're
let's.
We're just going to throw it out there.
Yeah. Melissa McCarthy was subdued in this film.
Yeah. She toned it way the fuck back,
Yeah.
like Leslie Jones should have.
But like I am actually not a big Melissa McCarthy fan. The only film I found her funny in is Bridesmaids. I'm not a fan of Identity Thief. Not a fan of The Heat. I'm not a fan of name any other of her movies.
Spoiler alert, she's the same character in all those movies.
Yeah, Tammy. But there was Spy, I heard was pretty good. I should see it, but I'm just sick of Melissa McCarthy. I am. They even changed Mike and Molly's formatting to fit her type of character she did in the movies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they made her like around season 3. She went from being a teacher to then like she quit her job and then started doing crazy random things.
Oh,
so yeah,
you can have a career in doing crazy random things.
I guess.
Given my 2 weeks.
But yeah, the girls, they discover ghosts, they keep getting shunned, and then they make a meta joke where it's like, don't read the comments, you know. They'll say anything mean at midnight, all them trolls and everything, and it's like...
What was the comment? Like, oh, these bitches ain't gonna bust nothing? Or...
Yeah. Which is a callback to...
Just don't acknowledge it.
Ghostbusters 2016's original trailer is the most disliked trailer of all time on YouTube.
People love their Ghostbusters. Their original.
Well, even the beginning... That trailer was awful. They even screwed up the first freaking words that they said. Because it said, 4 friends. It's like, one... I could only say 2 of them were really friends.
Right.
Because Bill Murray was kind of like, I'm just with these guys.
Ernie Hudson didn't even know him.
No. And then they said 4 scientists. Ernie Hudson wasn't a scientist. No. And Bill Murray's science was like in psychiatry.
Right.
Like, 2 of them are true scientists. One's, I guess, a doctor. And then the other one's just a day man looking for a job.
Oh, boy.
But, I mean, I went into this as unbiased as I could be, but this Ghostbusters to me is a top 3 all-time favorite for me. I can quote it up, down, left, right. I love that movie.
Me, not so much. I do enjoy the movie, but the way I worded that made it seem like I didn't like it. I do enjoy Ghostbusters. I like the original, but I don't have the same, like, reverence that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't hold it in as high regard, but I think it's a good comedy from the 80s.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's, like, holier than thou, like it's The Godfather.
Right, but it's just one of your favorites.
Yeah,
you just enjoy it.
I love that movie. I've watched it 30, 40 times or more.
Okay. I have no personal prejudice either way. So, going into it, I tried to forget the trailer because that trailer rubbed me totally the wrong way. I tried to forget the fucking terrible Fall Out Boy song. Jesus fucking Christ. It makes me want to shoot myself in the face.
Luckily, it only shows up one time and for a very short amount of time.
I actually forgot it existed. We mentioned this after the movie. I forgot it existed until it came on and made me want to kill myself. Let's talk about queefs.
Well, I was getting to that. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yes, listener, you heard me correctly. Let's talk about queefs.
That is the level of humor in this film.
Uh-huh.
They said that before they went and saw the ghost, they had recorded an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon.
Yep.
And
come over here and listen to it.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig's all excited, and then you hear a fart. Well, what you think is a fart. And then Kate McKinnon goes, well, would it surprise you if that came from the front?
And the audience lost their shit. Let's talk about the fucking audience of this
Oh
movie,
my
because
gosh.
I wasn't drunk enough to deal with people tonight. I was already pissed off that I was sitting next to somebody. Like, I don't like having people directly opposite me,
Yeah.
but, you know, that's just me being fucking whatever. But this theater was a madhouse.
I could not believe how many of these jokes were landing.
Oh my god, people are eating it up.
Yeah.
Do we want to mention the worst joke that I think I've ever fucking heard?
Let's get to Chris.
You introduce him.
Okay. So, while all that happened, Leslie Jones meets your soon-to-be villain, Rowan. You haven't met him up to this point, but he meets Leslie Jones, who's working in the MTA. She then sees him walk down onto the tracks. So she follows him. She's like, gotta get him off the railroad tracks, the subway tracks. And he has been making these machines that are allowing the ghost. You saw this in the house and that the other three were at. Well, now you see one in the subway, and it goes off and it creates another ghost on the subway tracks. This former prisoner, it looks like. He was electrocuted, you could tell, because he still has the hat on from an electric chair. And so now you're getting a better glimpse of this bad guy. She goes to the Ghostbusters. Well, they hire a new assistant, who is Chris Hemsworth, taking the spot of Annie Potts from the first one, from the original.
Did they objectify her?
No, they did not.
Did they objectify him in this movie?
Oh, hell yes.
Okay, I just wanted to get... Yeah, I thought I'd get your opinion on that, because I felt that too, and I was thinking... Yeah, I don't think anything like that happened in the first movie.
No, she threw herself out there at Harold Ramis's character Egon, but he never really showed any interest back.
Right, and they weren't oogling her. They weren't...
No.
Yeah, like Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
That's my issue with her character.
Is that she was all
She
over.
spends 90% of the movie trying to fuck Chris Hemsworth.
And he never shows any one iota of feeling back.
Well, because he's a brain-dead fucking idiot in this movie.
Yes, he is.
Which
Annie Potts wasn't in the original either.
She wasn't dumb.
No, she was intelligent. Actually, she was very snarky and kind of funny, because
Right.
she'd give him shit right back.
And there wasn't any, we really want to get in your pants, or none of that. There was no dancing with her. Was there?
Not that I can remember.
I don't remember dancing.
Nope. In the second one, they put her in a commercial, but...
That was it?
Yeah.
So even in the second one, they weren't objectifying?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
She objectifies herself. Her and Rick Moranis' character get together, but that was like a mutual relationship type of thing. Yeah. Chris Hemsworth plays a total idiot in this film. And cue, during his interview to become secretary, cue his amazing joke.
The worst joke I've ever heard.
So
I think it's one of the worst I've ever heard.
After Kristen Wiig asks if he's seen anyone, which then Melissa McCarthy covers, and she's like, well, she pretend that question didn't happen because we could get sued. So, do you have anything you like to do outside of work? And he says, I have a pet. And
he says, can I bring my cat to work?
Oh, yeah. Can I bring my cat?
And Melissa McCarthy says, well, I would love for you to bring your cat, but I have a feline allergy. And he goes, I don't have a cat.
Which then they're all befuddled.
And then the punchline is he has a dog named Mike Hat. Mike Hat. Are you with me, listener? Did you just laugh out loud? Did you snort a little coffee out of your nose? Because if you did, fuck you. Well, maybe not that far. But what the fuck, man?
It fell so flat. I was like,
People
what?
laughed. People laughed in the theater.
It wasn't as hard as it had been for other jokes. There was a smattering. But I was like...
Dude, people were guffawing at shit that I was like, have you never seen a movie?
Like, when they send him away from the table when they're discussing whether they should hire him or not, there is a phone, and if you saw the second trailer, you kind of see the joke already. There's a phone in the aquarium, and he's trying to reach for it, but through the glass. And so people started laughing at that, and then he reaches through and he's wearing glasses. He reaches through and messes with his eyes, and they're like, "You don't have lenses in your glasses?" And he's like, "Oh, no. They were giving me headaches."
Yeah, the joke was he heard through his eyes.
Yeah.
Because when he hears the loud noise...
Yeah, he covers his eyes.
Yeah. And the audience is, oh, ha, ha, ha. What a fucking idiot. This is your audience.
But after they give Hemsworth the job, which I don't even remember, what was it, Kevin?
Yeah,
Kevin. Leslie Jones appears and tells them, hey, you need to come check out the subway. Saw this really weird thing. You guys are the Ghostbusters. We need to look at this. And they head down to the subway, which ensues as their first use of a proton pack.
Which they never referred to as a proton pack.
No, they never once referred to it as a proton pack. Which, they videotape it. They are able to capture the ghost with the proton pack. Like, they ensnare it like you would in the original, in the original films. But then it gets hit by the train. And this is the part I talked about, where then slime after slime after slime after slime falls upon these girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's so funny that they just, every time another cart hits it, they get slimed.
Yeah.
I just was like, I'm done.
That's when you were done?
I
drew the line there?
I was getting there.
I drew the line at Mike had. Or the pussy fart. Hey, did you hear me queef on that recording? I looked around the theater like, is this Earth? Am I on fucking Earth right now?
I'm going to stop a little bit with the synopsis. I applaud that this film tried to make itself its own.
Right.
Just the way it went about it is what makes me mad. Like I said, I could care less if it was 4 women. I could care less if 4 men. 2 women, 2 men. 3 women, 1 guy. 3 guys, 1 girl. I don't care the setup. These were bad jokes. They were cheap jokes. They were easy jokes. Not saying that the original didn't have them, but they seemed fewer and far between.
Right. It wasn't every fucking scene you're waiting for someone to say something. And that's what this movie was for me. I was waiting for someone to say something, and it always either fell flat or was just stupid or didn't go anywhere or
it was an easy joke.
Yeah.
But then Leslie Jones decides to join the Ghostbusters, and she gets them a vehicle, which is a hearse. And then there's a whole joke about there's a body in the back or not. And
I can think of 15 uses of a cadaver body right now. And
yeah, Kate McKinnon trying to become a necromancer or necrophiliac.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah. We've had 1 cameo show up by now. Bill Murray plays a guy who tries to disprove ghosts.
He doesn't believe that they're actual Ghostbusters.
Yes.
He claims they're faking.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that he goes to their little building and asks them to prove it.
But that comes a little bit
That's
later.
jumping a little too far ahead.
These girls then end up at this concert, which is supposed to be reminiscent of when they show up at the hotel in the original. And they're asked to find this ghost. Well, this ghost has taken over a mannequin that chases Leslie Jones around. The other girls had found another one of these machines Rowan, the bad guy, has made that allows these ghosts to come onto this plane. But, yeah, I'm sorry. It should not be able... Possessing people is one thing. Possessing inanimate objects, like
running around.
You want to throw an inanimate object? Sure, fine, whatever. But actually possessing it and running and chasing somebody with it.
And it was a dragon.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Yeah, they zap the mannequin. The fucking dragon flies upstairs to where the rock show is going on.
Mm-hmm.
and the audience thinks that it's stage effects.
Yeah.
And you get a throwaway line of one of the crowd guys yelling, "That's not us!" Like one of the special effects team or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this dragon flies around. The Ghostbusters, what do? They run on stage after the dragon hits the lead singer into all of his fucking
speakers,
which I think would fucking kill
him. Yeah, they it was 5 high speakers.
Yeah, those speakers are heavy,
and they fell on top of him.
But anyways, the dragon hits him and then hovers over the crowd, who doesn't run in fear or anything because,
it's reality.
Right. Well, yeah, because if you were at a rock show and you saw a fucking ghost dragon over you, you would think it was a part of the show.
Until it hit him, I might. Until he gets thrown into the speakers, then I'd be like, okay, some shit is real here.
Regardless, you get the Ghostbusters running upstairs and
they're on stage and they try shooting it, but then they're destroying everything.
We can't get it. Oh,
Michael McDonald of Mad TV fame, who hired them, is yelling at them because they're destroying all the Art Deco and everything.
Great line.
Yeah,
and so he screams like a girl, which
he can't say.
He just says say that.
Yeah, he says he screams high pitched.
Oh, okay. Because I'm somehow implying that screaming like a girl is a bad thing.
No, I'm not. I'm saying he can't say that though.
What is your fucking game, Paul Feig? What is it? Does he hate men?
He was not a fan growing up from the interviews I've read. He was bullied, and so by men, and so he really is not a fan. That's why he makes all these women movies like The Heat, like Bridesmaids, and all those.
How is this empowering?
Spy. You have to ask him. But yeah.
If we have a female listener, please comment and enlighten me. Are these movies empowering?
Bridesmaids was enjoyable.
Bridesmaids was fine. It was fine. It was a funny movie, and it was an all-female cast, really. And yeah, there aren't a lot of those. I will give them props for that. But that wasn't man-bashing, really. It was just a story about a bunch of ladies doing their shit. And that's fine with me. But this movie has a lot of man-bashing shit in it.
It gets into it really heavy once the Ghostbusters are proven to be quote-unquote real.
Well, they're joking that the villain's a fucking virgin.
That's
and
later.
And that he doesn't get out and do anything. And, it's always the pale, chubby ones. Remember him making that line?
Yep, that.
When he killed himself or...
Mm-hmm. When they figure out who he is.
Yeah. But it's so it's alright for you to talk shit, but if anybody has anything negative to say about anything, you're a fucking misogynist. That's what bothers me the most about this movie. You can't just say, I didn't enjoy the movie, because you're labeled as something you're not. I don't hate women at all. I'm straight, so, in that aspect, I like women. But I think women can be just as funny as dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Betty White's one of the funniest fucking people there's ever been. I love Betty White.
I don't know, man. It's one of those... And somebody listening right now would probably be like, well, this is just textbook something a misogynist would say to try to hide the fact they're a misogynist. You can't say anything today without somebody twisting it in one way or another. Okay? So I'm just going to say right now that we've already said it, but I don't hate the movie because it's women.
No.
I dislike the movie
because of the script.
It's the script. The script is a huge fucking problem. They put a lot of nods to the real life backlash that they got from that first trailer that I did not want to fucking hear. It's punishing me by putting shitty little plot devices and nods to that in your movie when I didn't do it. I wasn't posting fucking comments saying you bitches can't blah 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 because
I was waiting to see for myself.
Right. Did I enjoy the first trailer? No, but just because people are shit-talking doesn't mean you need to throw all this shit in the movie to punish everybody. I don't know, man. I derailed there. We can
get back
to the plot.
No, hey. I
just wanted to get it out there.
I agree. It was a very weak script, and like as we said, to get back to it, this dragon's over this crowd.
Yeah.
And then Melissa McCarthy goes crowd surfing because she's like, we gotta get out there so we can surround it.
Yep.
And then Leslie Jones tries doing the same thing, and then she hits the ground, and she's like, I don't know if this is a race thing or a sex thing. And it's like,
which is a whole other fucking thing that I won't even get into.
Yeah.
People shouldn't have been doing what they were doing to her on Twitter.
No, agreed.
I agree.
That's
I don't
stupid.
blame her for leaving Twitter because I wouldn't deal with that bullshit either. But
her character wasn't very good.
No.
But that doesn't mean she's a bad person.
Right.
Or she deserves all that crap she got.
Absolutely not.
No. If you don't like somebody, you shouldn't attack them. Just be like, yeah, they weren't good. So
Well, people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, they are.
And
they feel empowered when they have...
When they can hide behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But no, I think it's terrible that people did that she had to close her Twitter down because they were sending her racist shit.
Or sexist things.
Yeah, death threats or whatever. And yeah. And I'm not going to... Let's say this, too. I'm not going to deny that a lot of the people that were giving them shit are fucking misogynists.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there.
Oh, there are plenty. Yeah. But there are also women that hate this movie as well.
Just be above it.
Mm-hmm.
Take that criticism and just be like, well, fuck it. You don't need to put as much parallels in the movie to try to make some point to me. Like, I don't know how to word it. It's a weird tactic because it's just going to piss those people off more, and it irritates me because it could have been a different movie if they just cut all that shit out.
Mm-hmm. I get why they want to address it, but at the same time, it does take away from the film by addressing it. If
they had one nod, that'd be one thing, but there's some man-hating shit in this movie.
The thing is, they capture the dragon, even though it's on top of Leslie Jones, like it's resting on her shoulders for some reason, and then they shoot at it. These things are nuclear-powered proton packs, and they shoot at her with them. No.
And then you get the one trap in the fucking movie.
Yeah, Ghostbusters. In the original, you see him capture how many ghosts? Even montage-wise. Lots. Yeah, one. And they don't even hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they capture it, and they're all celebrating, Bill Murray comes to disprove them. He comes to their office to disprove them, and they release it. Kristen Wiig releases it to prove to him that they captured a ghost, and it zombie lands Bill Murray.
Yep. He gets thrown out a window and dies.
Yep. So, and then the dragon disappears.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like...
Till later in the movie.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, awesome. So there goes Bill Murray.
And then you get a cop asking one question. You mean to tell me a ghost threw him out the window? And you're like, oh yeah, it was a ghost. And then they walk off. I'm like, nah, you being fucking...
Especially when the city itself is saying, we are discrediting you.
Right.
You're being arrested for murder.
Oh yeah. A disgraced ghost hunter has a body fly out their fucking second-story window. Yeah,
from a guy who's there to disprove them?
Uh-huh.
Motive?
Yeah, that'd be a different movie.
Yeah.
That'd be an unexpected twist. This Ghostbusters turned into a Law and Order episode.
Criminal Intent.
That nobody's been raped. Or no, SVU is the one where everyone gets raped.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, different one.
Why would anyone watch that show? It has like 59 seasons.
18, but yes.
Close.
Yeah. Sometimes too many. But
why would you watch it? Just every episode is like, oh look, a park. Hey, there's a dead body over there. Oh, somebody fucked it. Wow. I guess I'm going to sit down for an hour and enjoy this.
And there's always that, oh, now it's going to take a turn because they found something else out that's totally not related, but is somewhat related. And then, it goes in a different direction. And then the case you originally ended up with, or you started with, is not the one you're ending with.
Right.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Law and Order SVU.
We just spoiled 17 seasons for you.
We saved you your life, really.
But yeah, so now, is this the part where the city actually does come get the girls and tells them, hey, we love what you're doing, but we have to now discredit you.
Right.
Which Andy Garcia is the mayor.
Cecily Strong is like his assistant lady.
The two what's it called? Homeland Security guys. They're recognizable, but I don't know what they're from.
One of them's Chalky White from Boardwalk Empire. The other's on Veep.
He was also in Daredevil, wasn't he? He was like that, like season 1, that guy who was doing the first episode. They had the, what do you call it? Trafficking, the human trafficking. He was the one putting all the girls in the bins, wasn't he?
Chalky White?
Is
that the guy you're talking about,
yeah.
the black dude?
Yeah.
I don't think that was him.
Oh.
It could have been.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. I don't remember that episode super well. I recuse myself.
Okay. And I could be wrong. But yeah, so they're being discredited. So like it's kind of like a setup joke, which I actually kind of find funny that they're like, yeah, we love everything you're doing, but we have to disprove you.
Right. That was fine.
Yeah. Whereas in the original, like, the Ghostbusters were kind of lauded. Like, people still, like, you had Peck, who, played by William Atherton, who was like, hey, I think you're breaking a law of EPA, and he didn't really believe in what they were doing, but he's, like, they didn't try shutting them down. Well, he did, but that's because they were dicks to him. But this one, they're like...
Yes, it's true, this man has no dick.
Yeah. Great line.
Great line.
But, yeah, none of that in this.
No, there's no line like that in this.
No, but you do get a dick shot in this.
God damn it.
But they figured out who Rowan is. Like, an interesting thing, like, in the original, they found out why Sigourney Weaver's character was having so many ghost issues in her apartment. It was the way it was built, and there were, like, all these insignias and everything that allowed it to become a portal. Well, in this one, they decided to use, there were these lines on the earth that cause a break in the barrier for better, contact with the other side.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Stronger connection to the
like
paranormal world.
Linear lines or something, they called them like that. Something like that. Anyways, they go to the mayor. He's like, we like you, but we discredit you. They then figure out who Rowan is. And this character, this actor, he's nothing. His whole motivation is that he had been, no one wanted him. He was an unknown human. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, yeah, now I'm going to let, ghosts reign upon the earth.
Right.
It's like, I don't care about this character at all. This is the worst bad guy of the three. You had, Zool in the first one. Then you have Vigo, who, the River of Slime is stupid in the second one. But Vigo himself, at least he has, like, a true motive for why he's coming back and what he's doing. Mm-hmm. This guy just, whatever.
He hates people.
Yeah.
I fucking hate people, but...
But he ends up killing himself in front of the Ghostbusters.
Yep.
To then come back right away as a ghost.
As their logo.
Yeah. Not yet, but yes, he will. Which they find their logo drawn in the subway.
Yeah, some random guy.
Yeah. Paints it in the subway.
They go, have you seen any ghosts down here?
And he's like, here, let me spray paint this quick. Okay, sure, yeah, whatever.
And then he's doing all this stupid, sorry, while he's doing it, and
because Leslie Jones is like, I'm going to get fired for letting you do this.
Right.
Yeah. Just a bad film.
And you knew what it was going to be. You called the final cameo way before it actually unfolded.
Yeah.
And I hoped that you were wrong, but...
Oh, we forgot the Harold Ramis cameo. I think you missed it. When Kristen Wiig was in her office, her boss leaves, talking to her about her tenure. There's a bust of Harold Ramis in the hallway.
That was actually a pretty classy move.
Yep.
That's the way to do that.
Yeah.
I was horrified at the thought that they might have him as like a fucking CGI ghost in the background or something. That'd be in such bad taste.
Which, quickly, about these ghosts, they look like those damn things out of Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2.
They don't look great.
They look terrible. Like, I know people love CGI. I hated these. These, like, I know the Ghostbusters was made in the 80s, but I like to think their stuff was better.
Right. Well, we talked after the movie, too. Like, it was a combination of some practical effects and then maybe, like, some CGI to kind of flesh it out. But in the 80s, CGI wasn't really great.
No.
So they didn't... A lot of movies use it as a crutch nowadays. And this movie, I think, just uses it too much.
It was terrible. It was. Like I said, when I saw that first trailer, it's like, this looks as bad as those Scooby-Doo movies. They look so fake. It's not even fun.
Yeah.
But I digress from... This film, just... It kills me. It does. A little bit. I
wanted to like it.
Talking
I've heard
about
mixed reviews.
Yeah. Talking about it, though, makes me a little more and more mad. Like, the third act is what probably makes me the most mad. Is because... And we get to this. Rowan is a self-aware ghost.
Yeah.
Who takes over Melissa McCarthy, and you saw this in the preview. You have that whole Exorcist thing where it's Rowan trying to destroy the Ghostbusters because he knows they're the only ones who can stop him. And so he starts beating up Kate McKinnon, and...
That was such a weird...
Yeah.
It felt really out of place.
And Leslie Jones, and then you have the whole Exorcist thing, like she turns her head around in 180 and snaps it back, and then Leslie Jones beats the exorcism into her. The ghost.
The power Patty compels you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, God. Come on, man.
And then the ghost then ends up taking over Chris Hemsworth.
Yep.
Who then goes on to go back to where Rowan had set up this machine to release the ghosts, and he finishes his job. I guess he needed to be stronger to be able to finish it, because he needed to pick up this machine to plug back into this other machine.
Yeah, he kept making comments like, I should have worked out more when I was alive.
Yeah.
In this body, I don't have to suck it in. It's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah. And Kristen Wiig is popping up. She, figured out Rowan's plan, but she wasn't anywhere near the girls to tell them. And then she tried telling the mayor. She gets pulled out of the frickin' restaurant, and she starts telling everybody to leave when she tells the mayor. And McKinnon's character had created these new weapons. They were individual. One was a wood chipper, a ghost wood chipper.
Leslie Jones had that.
Then there was a a brass knuckles ghost puncher, which went to McCarthy. Then there was a shotgun that went to
McKinnon.
No, McKinnon had the sidearms.
Oh, that's right. So Kristen Wiig got
the shotgun
and the pocket knife.
And the pocket knife, which comes into play.
For one stupid fucking... Wow.
But begin the third act. The worst part of this film. Go ahead, Jake. Take it. You got Kristen Wiig running through the streets screaming, everybody should leave. And then you have a green cloud ascend over the hotel that...
And you get a CGI fuckfest of ghosts running through New York, Times Square... Was it Times Square?
Yeah. They were working their way to Times Square, but yeah.
You get Hemsworth controlling a bunch of police officers and people in the street as if they're puppets. Almost as if they're going to start a dance routine, and then nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. You had told me there was one, but because they must have cut it.
And then they put it in the credits scene. Because you saw it in the credits.
Because that's...
What everybody wants is a dance number in a Ghostbusters
because
film.
It totally fits the tone of, everything that had been happening. What movie... Other than The Mask, has a dance scene ever been like, yeah, that wouldn't be out of place?
I don't know. Like, besides a movie that's a musical? I don't know. Not Another Teen Movie. That was pretty funny. Remember when they did it when they're going to the prom?
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny. That's because that movie is just fucking dumb, though.
Yes, but see, that was a spoof. Dumb. Yeah, so that it worked because it's a spoof.
Anyways, you have really tall. What do you call those guys that walk on?
Just stilt guys.
Yeah, stilt guys. There's a stilt guy for some fucking reason.
Who's controlling ghosts as well?
There's pilgrims.
Yeah.
Why?
But you're forgetting. I'm just gonna.
Oh, the balloons.
I'm gonna reverse quick. The three are by themselves. Kristen Wiig is not with them. She had gone and seen the mayor, and you have a Macy's Day Parade or something going through the streets,
and then like 9 million ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that it was a crowd of ghosts, but they only kill like 5 at the end of the movie?
Yep.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, but these balloons are. I don't know if they're actual ghost balloons or they were actual balloons that got taken over by ghosts.
No idea.
It was really, really stupid. And it's like balloon destroyed, balloon destroyed, balloon destroyed. They're not destroying any of the ghosts on the ground, which in the original, they didn't destroy ghosts. They captured them.
Yeah.
There was no way.
Pack did not kill spirits.
Yeah, they wrangled them.
Right.
Which even in the video games, like the newest video game, not the one that came out this year that was attached to this film. I'm talking the one that came out in like 2012. That was actually pretty decent. It was served as a great third film. They had other packs, like they made the Slimer pack from the second one. They also had a freeze one. They had some other things. All not really canon, but enjoyable.
Right.
So... But none of them, again, destroyed a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
They would hurt them, or they'd wrangle them or trap them, but they would not kill them.
Right. No, they're straight up killing in this.
Yeah. But
they're like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah. But
murdering people.
They destroy all these balloons until the last one, which happens to be Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Boo.
And he's laying on the 3 of them. And he's smiling because he's suffocating them. And then you see from, like, underneath, and they're all talking to each other. And then, like, Kate McKinnon actually had a funny line. She's like, guys, this is how I saw my death. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. But, yeah, Kristen Wiig's pocket knife comes in use here. She pops the balloon.
Woo.
Yep. She's
well, they had to justify that stupid scene where she gives her a pocket knife.
Mm-hmm. We forgot one of the cameos, Annie Potts, who was the secretary.
Pretty good cameo.
Yeah, she played the secretary at the hotel before Rowan kills himself.
She wasn't, dragging her name through the mud or anything. Mm-hmm. She was kind of just being herself.
And then right before this scene we talked about, with the popping of the balloon, you get your Dan Aykroyd cameo as a cab driver. And...
Did you like what I said?
Yeah, say it again.
Dan Aykroyd pulls up in this cab during a ghost apocalypse, and
she wants to go to Chinatown.
Cab.
Yeah, she wants to go to Chinatown.
And he rolls down the window, and I said, it's so funny they got Dan Aykroyd to stand in doing his real job as a New York cabbie. I don't really hate him as much as I pretend to, but it's funny.
And then he has to say his line, I ain't afraid of no ghosts, and then he drives off. And it's like...
He cashes that check.
Yep. Well, he was also executive producer on this, so...
He threw all $20 of that Crystal Skull vodka money at it.
Oh, but yeah. Then ensues a fight scene, which I even asked... I had another friend who happened to be in the same theater we were... watching this in, and they said it was way over the top. She said it was not necessary. And again, here, you have them just killing ghosts left and right. Mm-hmm. Melissa McCarthy's punching him in the face. Leslie Jones wood chipper's one of them.
Throws a grenade, blows one in half. Yeah.
Just Kate McKinnon was the only one I actually found interesting, was when she used the whips on on her sidearm ones. I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. But otherwise, I just didn't care.
Right. Well, part of what made that good, though, is, like, her reaction after doing it, because she's so charismatic. She kind of got, like, giddy and excited. Yeah. Like, oh, what I did was just really cool. And I was like, you know, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, at least she had fun with it, and she's not... I don't even know how to word it. It felt natural.
Yeah.
Everybody else feels like they're doing something very specific. Like, Kristen Wiig is the nerdy one, but she's quiet and reserved, and she wants to fuck Chris Hemsworth. Leslie Jones is way fucking over the top and loudmouth and obnoxious, and that's what they want her to be. Melissa McCarthy's kind of stupid humor, kind of the smart one. I don't know if she's supposed to be the Bill Murray, or is it Kristen Wiig?
I think Kristen Wiig... Oh, gosh, I don't think you can really compare them. Besides, Leslie Jones is such an opposite of Ernie Hudson's character. Egon is close to Kate McKinnon's, but Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray's, I don't think you can really compare to either McCarthy
they're just not close enough.
Yeah, or Wiig. I think they were trying to be their own character so much that they became stiffened.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, like they didn't want to be compared to one of them, but they didn't want to go too over the top with it, so they played it safe, and they kind of just were stiff.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I was trying to think of how to word like why it felt off, but I think that's probably the best way to word it until you see it.
Yeah, but McKinnon's little thing she does was enjoyable, but everybody else, I mean, like, anything they all use gets broken except for McKinnon's. Like, I mean, Jones' thing gets stepped on. McCarthy just drops hers. Yeah, and I think Wiggs was a one-shot, so...
Well, they gotta give him an excuse to make new bullshit in the next movie.
Oh, we forgot to mention the other cameo from the original Ghostbusters. Slimer steals the Ectomobile.
Yeah. To pick up his girlfriend.
Yeah, to pick up a female Slimer and a bunch of other ghosts who were just riding around on it. And it's like, are you kidding me? What is this? And it makes several pop-ups during this fight and just them walking around downtown. And it's just like, really? This is stupid. Oh.
You want to get to Rowan?
Yeah. So now they go into the hotel where Chris Hemsworth is, walking through all these military men and women, and they're all in a disco pose. You know, the one from Saturday Night Fever cover where the one finger's up in the air, a disco pose. And they just, which we said, the dance and song number seems to have been cut and just put into the credits. I don't know if that's originally where it's supposed to be, but I heard it was actually in the cut of the film. I think it got put into the credits. He then uninhabits Chris Hemsworth. They keep shooting up the lobby. Can't get him. He then does a random just, what form do you want me to be? So it kind of pulls a Zool, but like there's no setup to it. They never actually hit him or anything. He's just like, hey, what do you want me to be?
Yeah, it really came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I was like, what the heck? And Leslie Jones is like, I want you to be something soft and friendly. And so he turns into their Ghostbuster symbol. And he's like this? And she's like, yeah. And then he like steps out of the symbol and becomes this giant ass ghost. Yep. So that kind of looks like Mr. Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
He looks exactly like Mr. Boogie.
He's Mr. Boogie.
And he totally destroys the building they're in. Should have killed Chris Hemsworth because they never pulled him out of that building. He should have stepped on every freaking guard that was standing there. They all should have been dead. He just steps out. He's as tall as the freaking skyscraper.
I will say this. Kind of a pro, not really a pro. But Rowan was the only ghost that didn't look like CGI garbage. They actually put kind of effort into making it look like actual material or fabric.
But like you mentioned, yeah.
It's a non-character.
Yeah. he's not important at all.
It isn't like a Stay Puft like finale. They don't even really fucking fight him.
No, they shoot him like once in the face, and
it
burns part of his face.
So he walks around like a giant Harvey Dent ball sack bag, and
yeah,
that's it. He just smacks a bunch of buildings around.
Yeah, like literally nothing to do with the film.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that he changed, because all it did is then they find this giant portal to the ghost dimension or hell or whatever you want to call it, and they trick Slimer to drive the ectomobile into it because all the equipment Kate McKinnon put on top of it, she's like, it's like a nuclear bomb.
Uh-huh.
You're driving around with a nuclear bomb? Okay.
Right.
And they pull that'll cause a reverse polarity or whatever they say at the end.
It'll cause it to do a 180, maybe, whatever.
But they use the exact wording that Harold Ramis uses in the original Ghostbusters when they said they need to cross the streams. Which, they didn't worry about that in this film. They're all shooting all the time together. It's like, cross the streams, screw that.
Right.
Who cares? But, like I said, I tried not to think and compare it to the original, but it's so hard.
Yeah.
When you hold it in such high regards.
You grew up on it.
Yeah. But they trick Slimer to drive the Ecto into it, to reverse it. So then everything starts putting itself back together, which made no sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like the hotel literally was ripped apart and floating in the sky to all of a sudden be put back together piece by piece. And Rowan is fighting, getting sucked back in. So the girls have a great idea. Shoot him in the fucking dick.
Uh-huh. Because fuck you for being a man and having a penis. It's a ghost, by the way.
Yeah. What's it matter?
I don't know. Girl power.
Yeah. And this is also part of the sequence where they call him a virgin. Yeah. They're like, oh, you must have been a virgin because you sat in your basement or something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Because you can't just be a dude who was bullied and, had a rough life. You got to be a virgin, too.
Yeah, but they shoot the ghost in the dick. And then he lets go. And it's like, he's a fucking ghost. Like you said, what's it matter? He doesn't have that. But he grabs Melissa McCarthy and they get sucked into the ghost dimension. And Kristen Wiig.
I just thought of the level of disappointment I felt when they shot him in the dick. Remember that Transformer that had nuts?
Oh gosh, and
that's
the second
what it was
one?
like. Where you're like, that has no place.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
When it has the wrecking balls, this is balls. Yeah. That was stupid. Just as stupid as this was shooting him in the dick.
Yeah, that's about how it felt to me.
Oh. And Melissa McCarthy gets dragged. And Kristen Wiig ties herself up with the cable tow or something, dives in after her, obviously saves her. They get brought back into our dimension where everything now is hunky-dory. But the government's still saying ghosts don't exist.
I didn't feel that relationship was even...
that strong? No. They set it up that they had been old friends, and then she left her, and that was kind of the thing. And she's like, I can't leave you again.
Right.
But yeah, they didn't really, it isn't like they became great friends again. They just knew each other.
I didn't buy any of them as friends, really.
Mm-mm. The closest two I would say are probably McKinnon and McCarthy.
Right. Yeah, because when they're introduced,
they have that handshake,
together,
yeah.
And they seem close-ish, but there wasn't a lot of, really building off of each other or getting to know one another even.
No.
It was just hey, we'll introduce that character to them, and it was more showing it to the audience than actually making it feel like people that are actually communicating or working together.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the end of the film. You get the last of the cameos. Ernie Hudson shows up as Leslie Jones' uncle, who she stole the hearse from. That's now in the other dimension. And then Sigourney Weaver shows up as Kate McKinnon's what do you say? Mentor. Thank you. That's the word I couldn't think of.
She says, "Where's the warning light for this equipment?" And she says, "Warning lights are for boys."
Dudes.
Yeah.
Excuse
me. And then I stood up and said, nope, done, get the fuck out, probably never watch it again.
And the last shot is they all go to the roof, and every building in New York is having their lights turned to like something like Heart the Ghostbusters or Heart GB or We Love GB, NY Hearts GB. And it's like, fucking kidding me.
We did it for them. Yeah, they're like, this feels pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah.
And I know with this pod, we kind of went back to our old format where we kind of discussed it. I think we wrapped it up quicker. We weren't too in-depth with it. But instead of doing pros and cons, when we both feel kind of like connish about this film, that it was just easier to go through and say parts we liked.
Connery, if you will.
Yes, Connery. But just go through quick and say things about the whole movie as a whole instead of trying to just pick certain parts.
Right.
And that's why I gave a spoiler alert at the very beginning, because I just was going to break down the biggest parts of this film.
This would have been a much briefer pod had we done our regular format that we do now.
Yes.
Like, it would have been the few pros and a laundry list
of cons.
And it just would have sounded like we were
ragging on it,
shitting all over it. I don't want to say that there isn't an audience for this movie.
No, there is.
If you're a kid, you know, like we were in the theater, it seemed to be the younger crowd enjoyed it because they probably don't have any source, you know, they don't know about the source. You know, they haven't seen the original or the second one.
Maybe not even the cartoon.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that cartoon.
A lot of people love that cartoon.
I don't remember it. There was a lot of Slimer, wasn't there?
Yeah, he became like a main character. Yeah.
Yeah, vaguely remember watching the cartoon.
I mean, it had like 100 episodes, so obviously it was popular.
Really?
Yeah. Keep going with what you are. I'll look it up and make sure how many there were, but I think it was over 100.
Anyways, I was just going to say, it might seem like we're shitting all over it, and I mean, we are kind of. Like, we didn't like it. Well, I'm not going to speak for you, but I did not enjoy it. I probably wouldn't watch it again. Like, maybe if I was somewhere and everybody else was watching it and, you know, I didn't really have another option, I might just be like, okay, well, I guess I'll endure this. But it isn't a movie I'm going to actively seek out.
140 episodes, and then 33 Slimer shorts. They were spin-offs, just with little short clips.
Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
It is what it is. But I kind of want just to step away from the film. I kind of want, like, talk about the film, but not talk about the film. Is this going to launch a franchise for Sony?
No.
I don't think it will.
I don't. Well, you told me the interesting number.
Yeah,
they want $500 million.
Paul Feig was quoted as saying they needed $500 million to make a possible franchise, and that number's coming from the budget was 144. Then rough estimates of promotion and advertising for the film was anywhere from 90 million to 150, but most say it's about 100 million. So if you just round a little bit, say $250 million budget for this film overall, and it made 46 million its first weekend, and it's not opening in China, which
China
afraid
of no ghosts.
Yeah, China doesn't want ghosts in its theaters. I really don't think this film's gonna. I think this film might make back its 250, but the thing is, then some of that cut has to go back to the theaters still. So, I don't know how much of a chance that leads for a new franchise of Ghostbuster films.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, do they really want to deal with more blowback? And I'm not saying that they shouldn't make another because of the blowback, but when you have crazy negative reception like that, like, at what point do you listen to the public and be like, okay, we hear you, maybe we shouldn't have done it? I think if the movie flopped, they would call any sequels off.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it'll flop. I don't know that it'll make $500 million. That's a bit of a stretch.
I know it saw us open in Russia, but it already opened in most American or English-speaking countries. Russia just the next biggest country it hasn't opened in, and that's it.
In Russia, Ghostbusters.
But like, the thing that ticked me off when I was getting ready to watch this film is some of the articles I was reading, and like I said, I'm a staunch lover of the original, and to then read in Time magazine an article stating that the original wasn't very good. This person came out and stated that people need to quit saying the original was so great. And it's like, are you kidding me? And they were calling for more people to come out against the original.
That's just a shitty writer trying to make a name for themselves, I think.
But I only found this article because I was reading another article in HitFix that was talking about, Ghostbusters opened up low, but it's the second female film to be the highest opening live action comedy, and they named 4 male dominated comedies that came out, because Ghostbusters and Pitch Perfect 2 are the top 2. So I went and looked at these 4 films. They mentioned Neighbors 2, The Night Before. It was a Christmas comedy that came out this last year with Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and what's his name? Anthony Mackie. Zoolander 2 and Central Intelligence, which came out this year. And I decided to do a little digging on my own to see how much those movies recoup back their first weekend in their budget, to say whether or not they really were a success or not. Mm-hmm. And Neighbors 2 had a budget of $35 million. In its first weekend, made pretty much $22 million, made 63% of its budget back first weekend. I'm not including promotion and advertising because I couldn't find it for all of them. So, I don't know exactly how much it made back, but it made over $100 million total, so I'm assuming it made that back.
Right.
Night Before, budget $25 million, made $10 million. But it was going up against Mockingjay Part 2. Kind of got ate alive. Then Zoolander 2, $50 million budget, opened at $14 million, opened against Deadpool.
Rough.
Yeah. And also, I think it just wasn't a good sequel.
It was critically panned.
Yeah. So, okay, they beat that one out. But then Central Intelligence, $50 million budget, made $35, so made 70% of its budget back first weekend. Went up against Finding Dory opening weekend.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. And so to make 70% of your budget when you went up against now what's, I think, the highest grossing animated film of all time, yeah, obviously.
Pretty good.
Yeah. But Ghostbusters, 144. So even though I know it's around 250, I'm just going with the 144 because I didn't know the other production budgets or promotion budgets. Made 47, which was only 32% of its budget. The only film it beat out was Zoolander 2. But yet, these people are wanting to declare it a success.
And Zoolander was a flop.
Yeah. It was.
And nobody had illusions that it wasn't one.
No. But these people are really trying to push that, yeah, Ghostbusters is fine. It has to now go up against Star Trek Beyond.
It's not going
to... And the difference with all those, like I named, like Zoolander 2 went against Deadpool.
Right.
Finding Dory for Central Intelligence. Neighbor 2 was just a bad opening. Mm-hmm. But it still made 63% of its budget and still made way more than it would cost. And Night Before had Mockingjay. Those were all not the tent poles. Ghostbusters was the tent pole. Nothing opened against it.
Yeah.
And it only made 32% of its budget.
And now they're going to have Trek to deal with, and then they're going to have Jason Bourne to deal with.
And then they also have Suicide Squad the week after. So you got to hope this movie has legs.
And I don't think it does.
I don't think it does.
I think people will be going this week, and come Friday, they'll be jumping over to Trek.
And to compare it to Pitch Perfect 2, which was the last one that they were saying, the big one, the thing was made for $29 million and made $70 million opening weekend.
Right.
You can't really compare the two.
Right.
One was made for nothing. Yeah, and I love Pitch Perfect. I think it's a great ensemble female cast. I think they work all well together. I think it's funny. Second one wasn't as good as the first one, but I still enjoyed it.
I've never seen any of them.
They're enjoyable. The girls are really good together. I think they all have their own parts. Really, the only way I can stand Rebel Wilson is in these films. But yeah, and Pitch Perfect, it didn't open as great, but it made pretty much all of its money back first weekend as well. But it was only made for $17 million,
right?
And it was going up against Taken 2, but Pitch Perfect 2 itself was the tent pole or the main movie when it came out. But because it was more of a known commodity, I get people want to defend this film, and that's fine. That's their own opinion,
right?
But when you have these facts laid out and you're pointing to these other films, it's like, it did better than these. And it's like, yeah, it had a bigger opening weekend, but it was a bigger promoted film, but it didn't recoup what it should have. How I'm going to describe like my rating with this is, it was a review I read and it like kind of summed up perfectly what I could say maybe a lot of people should feel about this film. It's not a film that should be praised, and it's not a film that should be disparaged. It's just a film. It's there.
So on our entertainment scale?
On ours, as unbiased as I'm trying to be, I give it like a 4. Like, I get some people like this humor. I get that. Just associated with that name, I did not like this humor. And I didn't even really care for this humor regardless. But just associated with that name, I don't know. It came off wrong. It felt wrong. And like I said, I'm trying to be unbiased. I tried not putting it with the original. I'm trying to say, does this film stand on its own merits? And
well, you're unbiased. I don't want to interrupt you, but you are unbiased because you didn't go into it wanting to hate it.
Yeah, I wanted to try and see if they could prove me wrong.
Right.
I wanted to be proven wrong. I wanted to say, yeah, this was a good film. And maybe 4 is a little low. I would put it on there with Ghostbusters 2. But, like, Ghostbusters 2 had a better villain. It had better romance. Like, there is really no romance. There's just lust in this film. There's no romance, which is fine. You don't need romance in every film, but, you know, it helps sometimes.
Right.
And I like the acting better in Ghostbusters 2 as well. Not because they're male, just because, you know, they knew who their characters were.
Right.
And sometimes with these actors and their characters, I don't think they always knew who they were trying to be.
Well, the other thing about the originals, they were all buddies in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of wrote it for themselves. Like,
yeah.
It's easy to play a character that you have kind of created. Like, you put your own little quirks in there. It's easier to make, you know, funny jokes because, I mean, they were all pretty great comedians, except for Dan Aykroyd. But, I don't know, they had that natural
chemistry.
Yeah, they could play off each other. I don't feel like these 4 really know each other that great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only one I really bought was maybe McCarthy and McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you would think that having all the SNL people together, they would play off each other pretty well, but it didn't really seem like they did.
No.
And you said that one of them complained that they didn't get enough script lines or something.
There were rumors one of them didn't like how much they had for a speaking role. And they didn't confirm who it was. I'm assuming it wasn't McCarthy, so that left Jones, McKinnon, or Wig. My guess was probably Wig, but I don't know.
I think the internet kind of thought it was Kristen Wiig as well. I thought I'd read an article. Don't quote me. You know, I'm not.
We
sure.
don't want to disparage Kristen Wiig because we don't know for sure.
Right. And for all we know, maybe it was a draft where literally she didn't have anything to do. Maybe what we're getting now, which we don't think is enough, is actually an improvement on what it was. But I don't know. There's a lot of trouble around it. But sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, maybe a 4's too low, but I'm not gonna ever try and watch this one again. I really not. And if there's a sequel, if maybe they do some retooling, maybe I'll see it. I don't know. This film just didn't do it for me. And like I said, I tried separating it from the original. That third act, even my friend who agreed, it just was way over the top. It was way unnecessary stuff, too much CGI. It just pulled away from everything.
Right.
So, and that's kind of how I feel about the whole film. There were some parts that I chuckled at a little bit, but more things than not, I just was like, this is just cheap jokes, cheap gags, not well written.
I'm actually going to give it a 4 as well. I don't think that's being too harsh on it. Like we said, I don't have the same attachment to the first and second movie that you do, so I kind of went into it not with an allegiance to anything, kind of just thinking, I wonder if it's going to fall on its face, because like we discussed, that trailer put a lot of people off, obviously, if it's the most hated trailer that ever fucking existed. I wasn't all that entertained. You sat next to me the whole time, and just
you sarcastically laughed more than you laughed.
Yeah, well, there was a girl that had a really obnoxious laugh, and I was kind of making fun of her.
Yeah, you were.
So I was kind of being a dick, but I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me. Like I don't like leaving a movie feeling absolutely nothing. And I didn't feel nothing, but I was irritable leaving the movie. Like, why the fuck did they make some of these choices? Like, why was my cat a line in this movie? Why was there a queef? Like,
yeah,
you can be better than that. Like, I don't remember that much, like, body humor, like, gross out type of shit in the Ghostbusters movies at all.
Did Kristen Wiig need to be thrown up on? No.
And then she's got to make the comment, that got in every crevice.
Yeah.
And it's just, they'll make something that doesn't go well, and they'll just keep building on it. And you're like, the foundation wasn't good. Just let it go. Like, God damn it. It's frustrating to watch.
See, like, take the two, like, when Kristen Wiig got slimed, she's like, oh, I got it everywhere. It's in every crevice. When Bill Murray got slimed, he's like, what happened? You don't see it.
Right.
He just covered in it.
Uh-huh.
So you don't watch a ghost vomit all over him or go through him. He's like, well, I feel woozy. Like, he's not like, oh, it's in my mouth. Oh, it's in my nose. It's in my ears. You know, it's in my frickin' private areas. No, he's just like, that was weird. I'm now covered, and then he's pissed off, and that's why he goes and gets Slimer.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know, the dialogue.
Yeah,
the dialogue was.
It seems so juvenile-ish. I mean, I know they kept using the big words, and I'm not saying every film has to be highbrow. No, I'm not saying it. It seemed they took the easy way on every line.
Well, here's the other thing. Think of the movie as a whole. Was there one scene where they didn't try to weasel in a little laugh in there? A cheap laugh?
Oh, yeah. Every line.
Every fucking scene.
And that's why I'm saying, like, McKinnon was a good and a bad thing, because, like, she was great, charismatic in that, but then sometimes, like, when it doesn't call for it, there she is doing it still. And it's like, okay, this is, like, rein it in just a bit.
Right.
Like, not, like I said, not a terrible con, but she was part of a con.
I think another issue is there's no, like, I don't want to say straight man, but I don't know what else to call it.
That's what you call it when you have, like, Mark Wahlberg was a straight man and the other guy. Or,
right.
Actually, it was kind of Will Ferrell, because he played the normal guy, whereas Mark Wahlberg was always off the wall.
There is no Ernie Hudson in this movie.
No, there's no grounded character.
For everyone that I thought was going to be the grounded character, they would say some shit, and I'd be like, well, this isn't the normal one. Like, you have no ground. Like, it's just wildfire.
If you've seen, like, MacGruber, Ryan Phillippe was the straight guy.
Right.
He was the one who... MacGruber was doing all of his crazy things. Ryan Phillippe's the one who thinks things through.
Right. And that's important if you're going to do that kind of comedy. Like, if you want to highlight the zany antics of somebody else, it's really important to have someone that isn't going fucking 100 miles an hour all the time.
And like, I guess McCarthy and Wig try to share that.
But even they had moments where they just...
Because, especially when Hemsworth was involved.
The fucking soup,
The running joke with the soup was stupid as shit. Like, one time, okay, maybe twice when it takes him for... Like, because the joke is they now are above the Chinese restaurant that delivers your food. Second time is a little bit... It's still kind of got a little humor to it because, oh yeah, it took you an hour to deliver it and I'm right upstairs and you still screw up my soup. The fourth, fifth, sixth time,
that's
not
what I'm
funny.
saying, though. They'll take something and ruin it in the same fucking movie. Like, there wasn't just one thing. It had to be referenced ad nauseum until you're fucking disgusted with it and you just don't want to hear it anymore. They just run it into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. I almost forgot about the soup.
I did forget about the soup.
Yeah, the soup was driving me fucking crazy.
Which they did make a reference to the old firehouse, but they couldn't afford the rent. They do get it at the end of the film because the city's going to pay for them to continue their research. So they said, hey, you have to put us in a nicer place. Because, yeah, in this one, they end up above a Chinese restaurant that Melissa McCarthy frequents. Whatever.
And there was a line that worked there.
Yeah.
The rent's $21,000 a month, and she's like, "Go to hell." Or,
yeah, that's exactly. And I laughed. That was one part I did laugh. She was like, "Go to hell,"
and they didn't run it into the ground because I don't know. They, fuck, man. But yeah, I would say 4 in terms of entertainment. I won't actively seek it out. I don't blame the actresses. I don't blame Kristen Wiig or McCarthy or McKinnon, maybe a little bit Leslie Jones. But that's just because I don't think she was right for the role.
Yeah.
They just didn't need that.
I agree. Like, I don't really blame the actresses. I'll be honest, when I heard that there was going to be another film, I was like, okay. I heard all-female cast. I was like, all right. I was more upset with the ones they casted more than I was... Like, I was not upset that it was all females. I was upset that the females they casted. Like, I'm not a McCarthy fan. That's why I didn't care for it.
Right.
But like I said, she kept herself reserved in this film, but kind of to the point where she wasn't really even a character. She was just a wooden person there going through the film.
You get glimpses.
Yes, you get glimpses.
But I'll give them props that they did a good job of trying to make her not what she normally is.
Her Tammy identity theft role.
And she looks pretty good. She's lost some weight.
Yeah.
So good for her.
Mm-hmm. Kristen Wiig I actually enjoy. But again, this, like I said, she kind of is just there in this film. I was surprised by Kate McKinnon, but like I said, pro and con. And Leslie Jones, I was not a fan of her role. Of her portrayal in this film. But the only other thing I wanted to bring up is this thing was also very divisive amongst critics, and I mean we could probably go on another half hour about this, and I don't really want to, but
we will.
We'll see. Yeah, well, that was Ghostbusters. Like we said, we went Ghostbusters 2016. Excuse me. We went back to kind of our old format for one episode. It seems it was such a heavy film to go over. We had a lot of cons, so we kind of wanted to give them in order, and so we kind of went the old way. We didn't go scene by scene, but we kind of just wanted to cover everything. So, and it helped us that way instead of just doing a simple pro-con like we usually do. We missed Drew this week, but he should be back next week. Jake, it'll be your pick next week. I don't know if you've thought of what you want to do. I'll take your silence as a no.
Let's say it's a punk rock movie with Patrick Stewart.
Ooh, I kind of have a feeling. Man, we are staying recent these last couple weeks. But, all right. I think that'll do it for this week. Like and subscribe, share, like us on Facebook, Twitter, follow us.
If we alienated you, please have a discussion with us.
Yeah.
We don't want to offend anybody, but yeah. I'm willing to listen to other people's feedback and opinions.
Yeah, everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah, we could talk about it. If you liked it, tell us what you liked. Like, just talk to me.
Jake is desperate.
I'm lonely.
You're a virgin, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a lonely virgin. And I deserve to be shot in the dick with a proton pack. How did I know that this would end this way?
Because that's how every movie should end, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
My Life, directed by Paul Feig.
I'm Ty.
Jake.
I'm missing Drew.
Bye.
See you next week.
Because he's Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
I know.
I can't find the fucking mouse.